morning, guys. Weaver John C. Husband, California. Yeah, the old fat ass is back again, isn't he? Well, it's a Thursday. It's February 4th, 2021. So, you guys have already been following the local news concerning your areas of how bad the COVID's already hit, and not to mention delivery situations are still having issues trying to get the vaccination to people. And then there's the nasty thing of the dreaded P word. It's not the Pandora's box. It's not the pandemic. Well, you know what I was going to be saying. It was politics. So now we have Congresswoman Margaret, or whatever the hell her name is, Green, the one that keeps spouting off the QAnon conspiracies left and right. Not to mention there's also a certain senator that got in office still following suit on that one, the Republican side. And today in the House of Representatives, they're going to chew this Congresswoman to pieces. Because this person doesn't realize that when she got hired by the state of Georgia to be their representative, she should have realized she's going to be in for a long hill fight to keep her damn job. And about, I don't know what the large percentage of the population of voting was to get her into office because they believe in the QAnon conspiracy. And now she's got a perfect chance to spout that stuff off, and then she was working very hard to get her name cleared by trying to scrub off every damn video, except a lot of news media's been able to use it and pop it out there left and right, still telling the public what kind of a nut job she is. When this nut job went after a Parkland survivor, or actually a few Parkland survivors, even videotaping it just to prove her point that she's a nut job, going through Congress and chasing this poor boy. He's trying to fight for students' rights to live, and not to mention gun rights situation, trying to get more protections for students in school so they don't come up as a shooting gallery all over again. But this nut job kept denying the 9/11 attacks, not to mention the Sandy Hook situation, denying that Parkland ever existed because they got actors. I mean, they say the list goes on and on. It probably does. And she's been spouting off too much. Again, found on Twitter and also on social media outlets left and right. Probably on YouTube, too. Somewhere out there. I'm not saying conspiracy because media's been showing this damn shit left and right. Fox has been underplaying it left and right. But then the major boys like MSNBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, they're all saying otherwise because they've got the videos and they've been demonstrating it. So, this Green character is now going to be on that political hot seat as the majority in the House of Representatives are going to be telling her she can't have these assignments because of her political viewpoints. Conspiracy viewpoints. When it was even broadcasted throughout the networks that she also wanted, either she was joking about it or probably serious about it, of having news media killed, not to mention Congress people. And yes, she's part of the system. And the House of Representatives leader, McCarthy, a fool of an idiot, a fool of a took, I would call him, decides he's going to play straddle the fence, please both sides. He's going to realize that his side is going to get burned left and right. He is going to go down politically. Now, the people over in Antelope Valley, California, not to mention the Kern, some of us are actually pretty damn savvy. We don't like McCarthy. But there's been a majority of them enough to say we support him because we're that brain dead. I said it only because I live in the area myself, part of it. So he's got another 2 more years to salvage his damn ass. But part of Antelope Valley and Kern is still going to support his ass because they believe in the QAnon conspiracies. They believe in conspiracies left or right. They believe the government's after them. And yet most of these guys are hanging around by Edwards Air Force Base, either by employment or by living in the area. Hence the name Roseman. That's the place where I live. And I've met a few of these people. Sorry to say. Acquaintances all. Sometimes I wonder why. Politics has a way of destroying relationships, or even preventing relationships to form, or even when you need assistance. Unless, of course, you're part of their ilk, the us versus them situation, part of the conspiracies. There have been events that I have attended that I've heard people comment about how screwed up the government is, and that anyone part of the government system is an enemy. To misconstrue the damn thing in the first place, because it is misconstrued left and right. How some people have taken to Facebook to air out their grievances, and then when they run into schmucks like me in the first place, some mentions out there, or a bit meshuggah regarding what we know and what we don't know, and what we know is usually countering what they think they know. And we try to put the facts and figures, and they come up with their smart-ass retorts. I don't make many friends in this town. I don't have many friends in this town. And the ones I do have the friends in our town are staying the hell away from these other people because they're that crazy. They're that cuckoo. A long time ago, when I started to question them about what they believe in, what they think, and everything else about where they're headed, I usually get booed and screamed at, or kicked my ass and then roll away just to rattle my cage. I'm expecting that these days. I'm like, oh, it'd be a warm welcome if I actually had these guys started to do this shit all over again to be noticed. But I'm not doing it to be noticed out there. I'm doing it out there to make a point that they don't know their ass from a hot rock. Then again, I've also told these people a long time ago, and I've been blocked by so many people. I'm so loved. What they call a libtard. Yeah, I'm probably stuck with about a few networks at this point over here. People think it's public enemy number one, and that only Fox News or OAN or whatever kind of groups they've got out there are the real legitimate media for them, according to what they've been posting these days. So, quite frankly, all I got to tell them is keep your head stuck in the sand. Some of them are pretty damn conservative. They don't trust very easily. They only do the, have you heard, have you heard, have you heard? Well, this guy over here is doing it, and they've heard this, and they've heard that, and then they've heard this, and then they've heard that. I'm like, that's from the horse's mouth? God bless it. They're playing the kids' game again all over the place. Don't do that. If you're going to see the news, see the news. If you think the news media is slanted, yes, I agree. And the media has always been slanted ever since we had the damn thing in the first place. Blame Franklin for that one. If we hadn't been so damn fired up by the news, probably we wouldn't care so much of having the Revolutionary War. and separate from England. We wanted our freedoms. In order to piss off people enough, you had to slant the news. Sorry, but that's how it was. You compare what they had back then to what was going on these days. If we have anything corresponding or corroborating to what Ben Franklin's days of being a newspaper man was like, or anybody else out there doing the newspaper, everything else is cooperating with each other. They're trying to record the news, but in their own light. However, the other side would have been saying, no, these guys are a bunch of rebels. There are documentations out there that history professors keep digging into historical documents to prove certain things left and right, and usually come up with more than what people have expected. And here comes the books and the textbooks being updated left and right. So our knowledge about the history of our times is very important, because the more we know from documents, and if we can correspond it with other documents, then we're going to have to consider those documents as corroborated facts, and then we move on. Now, slanted, yeah, still. Because the news had to inform the public, educate the public, motivate the public. And yes, you have publishers out there wanting to motivate the people into different things. Try this. World War II. News was screened left and right because we didn't want the enemy to know what troop activities were, or Allied movements, or anything else relating to the Allies that might be construed. They had to go through scrutiny before getting published out there, both video and in print. And even they got their news out there one way or another, so people would understand what the war effort was all about. And then when the soldiers came back home, they were able to tell what was going on, exactly what was going on. So there's been accounts of that to corroborate with each other and how World War II was. But for those who have been on ground zero all that time, they wanted to forget, such as Germany. Germans out there didn't want the information that their homeland sponsored and created a terror that unleashed horrors among people. The death camps. They wanted to forget it, revise history. The physicality of the places are there. They are there. There's been documentation. We have records. The Germans are very facetious, very fastidious concerning about record keeping. So they kept track. But even then, back then, or after World War II, there had been a movement of Germans saying, no, it didn't happen. We deny it. They made laws to ban that ever again. They had to know the past. They had to know what they went through, so they didn't repeat it all over again. And still, it pops up in their country left and right. Every once in a while, we'll hear it leaking through the international news of what Germany's been going through, cracking down on stuff. Conspiracies concerning about 9/11 attacks. Some people said it was a massive hoax, until people worked over at Ground Zero cleaning up the mess. And 20 years later, they're dying from the mess because of health conditions. They can't get enough coverage through Congress to keep up with the damn medical bills, and they're dying left and right. We celebrated these heroes, and then we started burying these heroes, and then saying, did they ever live? Did it ever happen? We had records, we had visual confirmation that the World Trade Towers were hit, and hit hard. and they collapsed, and they killed many. The Pentagon, United 93 in Pennsylvania. If United 93 was not prevented, we would have lost the White House. So how is this a massive conspiracy? It didn't happen. Paid actors? Those are the kind of stuff that keeps popping out there left and right, and those who believe in it thoroughly, who believe in those kind of dumbass things, even though they've witnessed it, they must have witnessed it on news because it was broadcasted on every channel. As soon as I got up in the morning, about 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, trying to get my ass together to get to work, from one place in the San Fernando Valley to another place in the San Fernando Valley, I'm watching Good Morning America having a live camera feed. A live camera feed. Usually it's the tape stuff. But this time they had live. They took over the national network. I wasn't watching local. Usually I watch the local at 5 o'clock in the morning. I have to get myself ready. And I'm seeing smoke coming out of Tower 2. Tower 2 of World Trade Towers? People hypothesized that it was a small plane crash. Well, the structure of the building was sound enough, but it still looked like it was pretty damn well hit. Fire department would have a hell of a day trying to... I don't even know how the fire department actually can try to do the skyscrapers, but they try. I mean, they live in a town of skyscrapers, so they have to develop techniques on how to build it. I mean, how to take care of it. But World Trade Towers, hardest damn thing they would have to do is climb up for about a few hours or so like that, up those many flights of stairs to get to a damn fire up there. Wow. And then before we know it, here comes an aircraft comes in. 747. Slam dunk. Right into it. On screen. Live. This wasn't photoshopped. This wasn't computer graphics. This was live. It's Tower 1. Big explosion across the deck. Miles high. And they were all stunned. There had to be some people with cameras out there with digital cameras somehow watching this whole damn thing, trying to get it on tape somehow. We saw it live on Good Morning America. The damn thing hit. This wasn't replayed. This was hit live. And we heard in the process that day that the Pentagon was hit. Where I was working at, I would have been a target. My building would have been a target because it was high-rise. I live in a part of California, in Southern California, where it would have been. Woodland Hills, Warner Center. Perfect for any airplanes that want to hit us. We would see the son of a bitch coming. Hiding from it or protecting ourselves from it? Fuck, we would have been dead. Now, after seeing what the hell happened, I'm going to work scared as hell. So I know what reality was. Somebody brought out a portable television, and we're watching this thing in a building, and we're seeing the damage, what the hell was going on, and the chaos emitting. We also saw the Pentagon reports. They had live feed on that one. It must have taken about an hour or so just to get information concerning about Pennsylvania. 93 crashing. When they finally verified the remnants of it. Wreckage of it. Don't tell me 9/11 didn't happen. That was the day I really lost my damn mind. I lost my sanity. I lost everything else that meant a damn. My world, my safety, my security, my being an American in that time and place. What it meant to be American / Roman. Our Roman Empire got attacked, and therefore our safety and security, our knowledge of everything else we thought we were protected in our homeland was false. Turns out, after they did a commission report on it, we fucked up on our intelligence reports. And all that is public knowledge, still out there on the internet, still out there in books called 9/11 Commission. Got to read it. It's lengthy. They might as well say the Space Shuttle program didn't happen, or accidents didn't happen. Well, I'm sorry, but Challenger did blow up, and Columbia did tear itself apart in the sky, so they can't deny that one, too. So how is it that Hillary Clinton and the Clintons have been involved in Pizzagate? The more I keep trying to research the mentality and the reasons why they believe that they believe in, the more it gets convoluted. I tried to say in my other videos concerning about this damn thing, about perspective, about context. I don't think these guys ever know what perspective and context is, except how to do shock value. Basically shock value. This higher up guy in the government knows everything, spouting off bullshit. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Vladimir Putin laughing his ass off doing this shit to piss people off. I wouldn't be surprised that many Americans actually believe in this shit, because apparently they've gotten that dumb. I hate to say it, we've gotten that dumb, because if we're going to be believing that kind of shit without questioning it, without challenging it, then maybe we deserve to have our country torn apart. Maybe we deserve to have the United States ripped to shreds because we made it so. We made it so with our ignorance. We made it that way with our arrogance, with our indifference. We thought we were kings. We were the Roman Empire of sorts. Well, guess what? The Roman Empire is getting itself chopped up left and right. And we've got piranhas and sharks tearing each other apart in Congress. The same assholes we keep voting in left and right. However, we put in new assholes over there without vetting these guys thoroughly enough. And if we did, we found out we liked their conspiracy stuff left and right. All this unsubstantiated stuff. So now we've got Congress really tearing itself apart. That's what I kept saying a long time ago in my videos, that we have a civil war. We've already had the shots fired. We've already had an officer laying to rest in the Washington Capitol. We've already had politicians lying their ass off how much they support law and order, and yet they allowed this shit to happen. I'll say it again. They allowed it to happen on their watch. They encouraged a loudmouth gas bag to hold a rally, such as his constitutional right, but he fired up the crowd enough to march on Capitol and to do what they did. And they organized for this. They prepared and planned for this. Their fearless leader said that they were going to do this on January 6th, and therefore they did. So yeah, I hold Congress accountable for it. I also hold the people in each state for that. I get accountable to it. You wanted morons in office? Congratulations, you got morons in office. Now, this is what happens. So now what do we do? That's the question. What are we going to do? We have the elections up in 2022. We have next year's elections coming up. Let us hope by then our country has not torn itself apart even further. I knew that if President Biden was coming into office, he was going to have more issues than what he could ever deal with. Because we were so divided when Trump came into office, we didn't even realize it until the damn thing exploded in front of us. And maybe Nancy Pelosi was right. The enemy is in the House of Congress. Voted in by the constituents. Voted in by people. I'm not saying that they're good on both sides of the aisle. So the fucking morons and idiots who decided that conspiracy theories are reality check, and then reality is fantasy. So now we have fiction writers telling us what we should be living, or how we should be living. That there's more conspiracies out there to unravel. Not a reality check, not a virus that's mutating like crazy. Didn't they ever study Biology 101? Not even in their grade schools. I mean, shit, that was required back when I was going to grade school. Virus and life forms mutate. We mutate. The only thing is we haven't grown any multiple limbs unless we already had what so-called birth defects. Or we haven't any split heads, facial deformities, limb deformities. We haven't had at least not publicized, of having our organs on the outside of our damn body. We're sharing one heart, but we've got two heads. Physical reality here. Medical science. Yeah, we have to deny that there's a pandemic going on and that wearing masks. People are getting sick and tired of wearing masks. I got a handful of stuff. Keep in my pocket all the time. Used and unused. Basically, a reminder what reality is. If I have to lose those, I've got other as a reminder. This is reality, boys and girls. People are dying. We have industries failing left and right. We have politicians that are infighting each other left and right. And people want conspiracies. Meanwhile, we just let the enemies laugh their asses off at us because we let them do it. Congratulations.